That twice.
I don't think you're shots to them. See, have a split on the side.
Christ.
I'm a hot girl shots. Split on the side. Split like shot. Wow, thank you, Dura.
Quiet for the start. Set. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Coach DuWayne Campbell, and today we're going to be taking a look at the block starts. The block starts are super important for all the sprint events because it dictates how well you start and how well your acceleration is going to go. And as I've said before in my previous tutorials, the acceleration determines your maximum speed that can be achieved and also how efficiently you achieve that maximum speed. So the starting blocks has three components. It has two pedals, a right pedal, a left pedal, and a spine. The first component that you are going to lay down is a spine. And you're going to lay it down in the center of the lane. So for the 100-meter start, the block pedal is laid down in the center of the lane. We're going to make sure that the spine is in the center of the lane. And the typical start point is you're going to place the spine down in the center of the lane and one shoe length behind the line, the start line. All right. The easiest way to make sure that's in the center is to back up, come down the track, and look to see if you're standing in the center of the lane, if the spine is actually lined up with you. You can see this is leaning over to the right side of the lane a little bit. So I'm going to walk back in and center it and then step back out to make sure that it is centered. From there, we're going to step on the spine to secure it. So make sure all the spikes are secured into the surface of the running track. So as you can see, we are one pigeon step behind. Okay, let me bring this forward a little bit. From there, we're going to go two pigeon steps to our forward leg. And we'll slide it in. Make sure it's secure, make sure it's not rocking. And then we'll go three pigeon steps on the other side to where we're going to place the rear leg. Again, securing the blocks by stepping on the spine.
You just have a clap close to me setting. You have a clap close now. Ready for yourself.
The definition of OCD. There, we're going to make sure that the front and rear pedals are set to their lowest position. Sometimes you'll see a lot of advanced sprinters and they will hike the rear pedal up to a steeper angle, but those adjustments are made after the athlete has experimented with this block setup quite a bit and has had a lot of experience with racing and practicing the block starts. So they will find the specific angle that is best for them. But as a beginner or as a youth or junior sprinter, the primary thing is to set it up on the lowest position so that the block is basically set up for a 45-degree angle relative to the track surface. Now that we've set up the front and the rear pedals, we're going to crawl into the blocks. The key mistake that a lot of young sprinters make is they walk into the blocks like this and onto their marks. But what you want to do is you want to walk out in front of the blocks and then crawl backwards into it. By crawling backwards into the blocks, what will happen is that you're going to put the structures on the lower part of the leg on stretch so that when you get the go command, you actually have a stretch reflex to help you with exploding forwards and up out of the blocks. So it looks like this. Make sure that when you're doing that, you feel a little bit of stretch both in the lower part, in the calves and the lower part of the foot, and also a little bit on the hamstrings as you're crawling back into the blocks. So let me show it again. From there, you want to make sure that the hands are positioned behind the start line, not on it, but right behind the start line. That they are shoulder width apart. So you want to see the hands positioned right underneath the shoulder, not out to the sides, right underneath the shoulder. And you can play around with this distance in terms of the hands a little bit. Once you get a little bit more advanced, the shin angle of the front leg should be parallel to the track surface, whereas the rear leg, your knee should be on the ground. And typically, if you put the front knee on the ground, it should end up either right behind the start line, depending on how tall your lower leg bone is, or about 4 to 6 inches behind it. So if you were to put both knees on the ground, you should end up either right behind the start line or 4 to 6 inches behind it. And I've seen in recent times where a lot of sprinters are experimenting with starting in this position with both knees on the ground before moving to the set position. It's neither here nor there. It's more like a stylistic difference than anything. Because when you move to the set position, that's what is going to be important, because that's the position you're going to drive out of the blocks from. All right, so typically, it's rear knee on the ground, and the front knee is parallel to the ground. It's running parallel to the track surface. From there, you should be looking directly down on the start line. So the only thing you're supposed to be able to see right here or focused on is the start line. When you move to the set position, you're going to raise the hips up until it is just slightly above the position of the head. So you're going to be moving from this position. On the set command, you raise the hips up until they're slightly above the head. Again, keeping the shoulders right above the hands. So I've seen a lot of novice sprinters leaning forward over the line. And the risk you run there is that you won't have enough pressure on the blocks in order to feel the push when you get the go command. So just keep it as balanced as possible when you're first learning how to do the starts. Equal pressure over the hands and the feet, and just raise the hips up without moving forwards over the start line or pushing yourself backwards onto the pedals. So this is the correct movement. Steady over the hands, raise the hips up. And these are the two mistakes that most novice sprinters make. And in the set position, the forward knee should move to about a 90-degree angle. Whereas the rear knee, the angle on the rear knee should be about 115 to 120. So it should move set position here. Equal pressure. And as you can see, my rear knee is a lot more, my front leg, the knee is a lot more closed angle, set to about 90 degrees. And the rear leg is more open.
I'm gonna set my blocks coach different for everybody. We have to check baggage.
From what the first one?
That's right. One here, then move to here, from this here to here. Finger. One to here. One finger.